Hey people, it's Adam here from Eclectic Gamer, bringing you another board game review. Today we're going to be talking about Battlestar Galactica. So, Battlestar Galactica, before I get into the review, I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea how it's played and how it works. It's a semi-cooperative game. The base game comes for 3 to 6 people. 3 is a little weird, so 4 to 6 is probably best. And it follows sort of the theme of the show, but you really don't have to have seen the show to like it and enjoy it. My wife had never seen the show, loves this game, and doesn't really even have any desire to see the show. But the way the game works is the group of players is working as a team to try to get the Battlestar Galactica and its convoy of civilian vessels to safety. And the way that works is once your jump drive, your engines prep enough, you jump to another planet. You randomly draw what kind of planet that is. They each have a number on them, and once it gets to 8 and you jump again, then the humans theoretically win. Now, like a lot of co-op games, every turn happens with someone takes an action, you move. That action could be to blow up spaceships, to jump out in a pilot, to try to fix the damaged area. There's a bunch of different things you can do. But then you draw a card and something bad happens. And that bad thing could be food or water shortage, or something thematic where you have to stop it, or it could be enemy ships appear on the board, or it could damage a player. There are a lot of different things that can happen, so it'd take me a while to go over all of it. But the key is that some of the players, and always a certain number depending on how many you're playing with, are Cylons. So if you're not familiar with the show, a Cylon is a robot, and some of the Cylons look like humans and they can't be distinguished. So some of your players, so if you're playing with 6 players, I believe it's 2 Cylons and 4 humans, are secretly given cards at the beginning of the game. Everyone's given a card. And this is similar to other trader games like Shadow over Camelot is like that. And a game like Bang, you're each given a roll. That's similar to that. So in the beginning, it'll either say you're a human or you're a Cylon, and it'll give you a power. And then halfway through the game, everyone's given a second card. And so if you were a human in the first one, you get a Cylon card now, all of a sudden you were a sleeper agent. You were a Manchurian candidate. And it is called the sleeper agent phase. And then you win if the Cylons win, and therefore the humans lose. So you have to change your strategy. There's a bunch of different things you can do. Like I said, there's spaceships, and there's like Cylons will board the ship, and all this kind of thing will happen. But the main sort of interesting mechanic of it is these skill challenges. And what'll happen is a card will come up, and it'll say something like, "There's a food shortage. You have to stop it." And there are different kind of cards you'll have in your hand. They have different colors. And so this skill challenge might say, "Green and yellow cards add to this." So everyone secretly gets to put cards into a central pool, and any green or yellow cards will help it, and they'll have numbers on them as well. So you add up all the green and yellow cards, but then any of the other color cards, the red, blue, purple, just for this example, will actually hurt the mission. So you add up all the positive cards, you add up all the negative cards and subtract those from the positive, and if it's equal to or greater than your goal, then you succeed. And it'll tell you what happens if you succeed. And maybe it'll have a mission, or it'll have a thing that says, well, if you got 7 or higher, then you get this much, but some bad stuff still happens. And the reason that's cool is that the Cylons can secretly put cards in that will hurt it, and no one really knows who put which cards in. And you always put in 2 random cards so that you can't go, oh, well, there's a purple card in here, someone's trying to hurt the mission. So you can't do that. But if 3 purple cards are put in there, then because only 2 are put in randomly, you know someone did it. So every time you're kind of going, okay, did someone put that in there? Was that random? Or how does it work? And so as you play the game, you try to figure out who the Cylons are. And the Cylons can then at any time reveal themselves, and they get a special ability. Maybe they'll damage the ship, or they'll throw someone in the brig or something. But as you're playing the game, you're trying to figure out who the Cylons are, because they're stopping you from accomplishing your mission. And if they're the admiral, maybe they're steering you to a bad planet. And someone's the admiral, someone's the president, and they get to kind of choose a lot of things that go on in the game. So that's kind of how the game's played. I don't want to go into excruciating detail on it, just because that's part of the fun of the game. But in case you're not familiar with our Eclectic Gamer reviews here, what we do is we try to describe the game to you, give you some descriptors of the game that we think might seriously make you like the game or dislike the game, because everyone feels a little differently. For every game out there, there's someone who gives it a 10 out of 10. For every game out there, there's someone who gives it a 1 out of 10. So I don't know you from Adam, so I don't know what you're going to feel about it. So let me tell you a little bit about things that I think are really important. So it's a long game. Now, it's not Twilight Imperium diplomacy long, but 3 hours is about the minimum you want to dedicate to it, because it might go that long, even with experienced players, especially if they're accusing each other and spending a lot of time with the social aspect of it. So some people like that because it gets you enough time to really get into a game and, you know, have stories build up and that kind of thing. And some people might not like it because they'd rather play a bunch of shorter games, or they might think it gets boring, or if it... Even if some people like the game, some people just might get bored by playing any game for that long. So yeah, it is a long game. That's something you kind of need to know when you're going to play it. There's also a lot of hidden information in this game. You have hidden information about whether you're human or a Cylon, and that you're trying to figure that out. You keep all your cards hidden, and you can tell people you have a card, or you might hide that you have a certain card because you don't know if you want to play it. And you're constantly kind of trying to deduce what other people have and hide what you have. And some people really want to have all the information out on the table and have the game be decided by like strategic choices more than cunning. But that is a big aspect of this game. There's a lot of hidden information. Some people love that. Makes some people nervous. It is, like I said, semi-cooperative, and that comes with some pluses and minuses. It totally cooperative game, you're playing against the board. Some people don't love that because there's not a challenge. There's not as much challenge as playing against another human. Semi-cooperative, and it's totally competitive, then you're playing against another person. Semi-cooperative, there's teams. In this case, there's mismatched teams. You might have 2 Cylons and 4 humans. Or 3 on 2. And so some people don't like that kind of ganging up aspect, that mismatched aspect of it. But some people love that because it gives you something a little different, and you get a lot of good things from cooperative, but you also get the bonus of playing against another human. This game is really strongly themed, and I think that comes out in the fact that, like I said, my wife loves this game, even though she's not familiar with the show. So the theme comes really through. It gives you this sort of survival instinct. It's sci-fi. There's spaceships. There's lasers. But you're also like hunting to survive, and when it comes down to that last jump, and you're choosing whether or not to risk losing some of the population in your fleet to get away from this massive enemy Cylon fleet, it's pretty cool, and that theme really comes through, even though it's even though it's a board game, and even though if you might have never played seen the show and you're just playing the game, it really comes through. Even though a long time ago, you'd be really weary of a licensed game, but this one works out really well, and the theme comes across. And then finally, I think, and maybe one of the biggest ones, I would say that this is a social game in a lot of ways. Even though there's a lot of mechanics to it, it's really kind of all tied around the fact that you're trying to read your friends. You're trying to figure out whether or not they are Cylons, whether or not they're screwing you. You know someone's a Cylon, because in this game it'll tell you specifically how many Cylons have to be in the game. So after you get to the second half and everyone's given their sleeper agent card, you know there are 2 Cylons out there, and they're trying to mess with you. And so more of the challenge comes from trying to figure that out and stop them. And even if they do get revealed, they can still mess with you. So a lot of the interaction in this game is not a tactical interaction on the board, moving your pieces and what choices you're going to make, as much as it is trying to read your friends, figure out what they're thinking, what they're going to do, and try to figure out who's the Cylon. So some people love that, and it's a really interesting dynamic, and it makes everything fresh, rather than worrying about what's in the game. And some people don't like that, because it does create a tension. So if that kind of tension can get to you, you might not like this as much as you might thought. But that's Battlestar Galactica. In case you want to know what I think about it, I really like it. We might have burnt ourselves out on it. We played it. We actually kind of got our group together specifically to play this game because we thought it was really interesting, and we wanted to, really give it a shot and go. And we played it a ton of times. So I gave it a 9 out of 10 on my ratings, on a normal out of 10 scale. But if you're curious, we have created a website, which is linked here below, and will pop up here somewhere when I put it in post. It's eclectic-gamer.com/ratings, and what it does is you put in how you feel about a bunch of attributes like this. You tell us like, oh, I like games like that. I love games that have that. I dislike games with that. I'm indifferent with games like that. And then we'll take that information and compare it with all the game profiles in our system done by our editors, and it will spit out for you, nice and easy, a list of all the games in our system, and it'll give you customized ratings on a 1 out of 10 scale on how we think you'll like that. So you can put your information here. You can say, okay, I like long games. That's a plus for me. I dislike having hidden information. I love semi-cooperative games. I love games with a strong theme, and I like social games. And there's a bunch more attributes in the system, but if you put in that list, Battlestar Galactica is probably going to be for you, and you're probably going to really enjoy it. So, that's our Battlestar Galactica review. Thanks a lot. Let me know what you think of the system. Let me know what the system gave you for Battlestar Galactica here in the comments. And let me know what you'd like to see next time. So until our next video, keep gaming.